Hey, this is Dan here at Studio Blue. This is Pilates All Levels. If you have a purple ball or some kind of mini ball, grab it. A foam block would work, a pillow of any sort would work, as long as it's on the firmer side. If it's a bedroom pillow, you can fold it in half. If anything doesn't feel good in your body, please don't push through any kind of bad pain. All of that said, we are going to start hands and knees. And if you have a ball, we're going to place it in between your thighs. And a pillow would work as well. You just want to make sure that it's fairly wide, so you can still be about hip distance. And then fingers spread, knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders. And then just give your ball a really light squeeze so you feel your inner thighs turn on. And as you exhale, curl your tailbone, round up through your spine, separate your shoulder blades, and just hold there for a moment. Try to relax through the glutes and just feel that connection of your inner thighs up into your stomach. So pelvic floor, low abs. And then as you inhale, start to release your tailbone first. And as you arc through your spine, just come down one bone at a time. So pelvis, low back, middle back, upper back, eyes forward. Yeah. And then again, as you exhale, curl the tail first and just start to slowly kind of snake your way through. Shoulder blades widen, head relaxes. And again, just at your own time and your own pace, just using the ball, the prop, the pillow, whatever it may be, to give you a little bit of feedback into the inner thighs. One more like this. And then allow the chest to open to more of a tabletop position or flat back. And on your next breath out, start to sit back maybe a quarter of the way towards your heels without rounding your lower back. And then as you inhale, just hinge forward. So again, it's an exhale, little squeeze of the ball. Keep your sitting bones open, tailbone lifted as you hinge back. And then slowly come back to where you started. Okay, so we're just trying to get some movement, some functional movement into the hip joints, just a nice warm up. Good. Again, just check in, right? Make sure your lower back isn't rounding too much on the way back. Still feeling that gentle squeeze inward of the thighs. And start to feel the shoulder blades dropping and widening down the back. You might even play around with your arms going a little further. So as you reach back, essentially your arms are going into an overhead position. And then you might shift a little bit more forward, almost like you're coming into a low plank. So starting to warm up the shoulders now, shoulder blades, and the hips. And again, you might just keep playing around with the range of motion, taking the hands a little further. And then maybe start to go back enough to where your lower back does round a little bit. You get a nice stretch into the back of the glutes. One more. Good. Even though I'm sure we're all pretty already warmed up here in Portland because it is hot. So come back, hands and knees, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and then look to your right, wag your tail to the right, and then hold here for a second and breathe into your left side. And just see if that deepens the stretch from your armpit all the way down to the side of your hip. And then come through center, look to the left, wag your tail, and then hold and breathe into that side. And then find your center, one more each side. So wagging, looking to that same side. Still feeling that gentle squeeze inward of the ball. You might notice one side of your inner thigh is working a little bit more. And then last one to the left, or your last side, whatever it is. And then find your center. You can take that ball out for a moment, and we're gonna make our way onto our back. And if you have the ball, we're gonna place it in between your shoulder blades. So placing this, you want it fairly high on your shoulder blades to start. And if you notice when you're doing this, you don't feel enough abs, place it a little lower. If you notice you feel your lower back tensing, bring it up a little higher, right? And no prop needed on this whatsoever, but hands will come behind the head, elbows are in your peripheral vision, right? Stabilize through your lower tummy. The pelvis isn't gonna move too much. You're gonna inhale, stretch back. Yeah, maybe about halfway or so to start, and then exhale, feel the ribs dropping down to curl you up. And then again, inhale, stretch back, right? So we're starting to extend through the upper spine, the middle spine, the abs go on stretch. They're still working, even though they're stretching, and then exhale, working a little harder to bring you up. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind. If you placed one hand in between your chin and your chest, as you go up and back, You don't want this space in between the chin and the chest to really change too much. You can imagine, right, there's an apple here, an orange, whatever it may be, but right, that head position really isn't changing too much. It's the ribs that are extending and then coming forward. Good. So take a couple more like this. This should feel pretty nice. And again, this could be a pillow, right? Anything you have at home. It could even be a foam roller. So one more like this. Inhale back. Maybe hold on that one. Keep the head really supported and think of your hands reaching back so your neck gets a little bit of traction. You might even notice your chin drop slightly. Now keep the elbows pretty high to the sky and take 2 full breaths. Just kind of playing around with that stretch into the back of the neck, the upper spine. And then exhale, curl up. On your next breath out, twist the upper body to the right and hold. Make sure your left hip and your left foot are still pretty rooted. And then inhale, come back through center, and then exhale up and over to the left. Yeah. Inhale back to center, and exhale, twist. So just kind of keep moving at your own time and your own pace. And some things to avoid, right, kind of side bending or shearing, right? See if you can find that true rotation, right? And again, this should feel pretty nice, right? It's work, but it should feel pretty good. Now, all the stuff that we typically do on the ground without this ball, we're still going to do it today. The stuff that maybe isn't quite as nice. And then take one more up and over to your left. And then find your center. Inhale, stretch back halfway. So keep the head really supported. The chin's still a little dropped. And as you exhale, I want you to imagine that your breastbone was going to lift straight to the sky. So you might feel more of the center line of your stomach turn on. Check that your head's still relaxed. And then inhale, just sink the ribs back into the ball or pillow. Exhale, curl, right? Think of lifting up. Ribs are still dropping down a little. And then inhale, just sink back slightly. Right? Does everyone feel that? Okay. So it should feel like a little bit of a different sensation. Really straight down from your breastbone to your pubic bone. Check that your glutes and the front of the hips aren't overly tensing. If they are, the thought of pulling your heels a little bit towards your sit bones can help. Turn on the back of the hamstrings. That can help offload the front of your hips and thighs a bit. Last one like this. Curl, hold, and then reach your arms forward. So roll the shoulders out of the ears. And as you exhale, lift the arms to the sky. And now try not to roll back. Your hands can go as far as your ears, but try to stop right at the ear line. And then inhale the arms back down. So again, as the arms go up, right, the abs have to work a little harder to resist the extension. And then lower. Right? Now, if you're not on a ball or have a prop under your back, you could do this with your head on the ground or with a little bit of a pillow for more support. Right? Otherwise, we're up, ribs are drawing down, and hopefully you still feel your abdominals. Good. Last two. Good. And last one. On this last one, reach the arms, hold there for an extra breath. And then hands together behind the head. Slowly stretch back. Again, keep the head supported. Let the abs get a little stretch now. Take a full breath. And exhale, curl up. And make your way off of your prop. Take it off to the side for now. Make your way down onto your back. And then again, hands behind the head. So we'll see how this feels without anything behind our back. So pelvis neutral, feet hip distance, nod the chin slightly, curl the head and the chest up as you exhale. And then as you inhale, slowly lower back down. On your next exhale, pelvis stays neutral, right leg tabletop. Hold, put some weight into your left foot. Pelvis still neutral, and then inhale, lower the foot, lower the head. Exhale, lift up, left leg tabletop, just lifting through center, no twisting just yet. Inhale to lower. Exhaling up, inhaling down. All right, if you want to add on, the next time your right leg lifts, take a small twist towards it. Check in that that left hip is still heavy to the ground. Inhale back to center. Exhale, left leg floats up, small twist towards it. Inhale back to center. Try to keep the elbows wide on this one. Use your breath. And again, notice if you're side bending or shearing to find that rotation. So it's going to feel like your armpit is trying to stretch up and over to your thigh. Check that your tailbone's still pretty heavy. So neutral pelvis, totally okay on this because you're always going to have one foot on the ground. You should feel your abs starting to warm up a little bit. Good. One more to the left. And then lower down, imprint the lower spine. Tailbone's still heavy, just ribs are dropping, obliques are on. Set your stomach, bring the legs up one at a time, tabletop. Again, give the head some support, nod the chin, exhale, curl up. At the top, check that your knees are looking out somewhere over your knees, right? Knees are about 90 degrees. And then inhale, take it down slowly. And again, exhale, nod, curl, inhale down. Now adding on exhale, curl up, keep exhaling, arms forward, palms can face one another. And then inhale, hands to the back of the head without lowering. Exhale, slowly take it down. Take an inhale into the middle and upper back. Exhale, curl. Keep exhaling while you reach. Inhale, hands to the back of the head, stay lifted. Exhale, slowly take it down. And again, exhale, curl. Keep exhaling while you reach. You might curl up a little higher. Inhale, hands to the head, maintain that height. Exhale, slowly take it down. One more like this. Inhale, exhale, curl up. Keep exhaling while you reach. Maintain that. Hands to the back of the head. And then slowly, slowly, slowly bring it down. 1 foot at a time to the floor. Arms can open to a T with your palms facing up. And then take your feet and your knees together. As you inhale, let the knees drop to the right. Keep the feet stacked. So as my knees drop right, my left foot essentially rolls off the ground, right? Because it's still on top of my right foot. Now feel some weight in that left side, that left shoulder, shoulder blade. And then as you exhale, use your obliques. You might even touch the left side of your ribs and feel that your stomach's toning to help bring you back. And then inhale, knees to the left. Yep, knees stay stacked. Right shoulder stays heavy. And then exhale to bring you back. So a couple more at your own time and your own pace. So this is just a really nice way to get some mobility into the rib cage, into the pelvis and the spine. Last one to your left. Good. And then once you come back to center, legs can float up, tabletop, one at a time, lower spine's imprinted. If you have a prop, you can place it in between your knees if you want a little bit more stability and inner thigh work. And then same thing, we're gonna inhale the legs to the right. Legs go about 45 degrees away from you. So if you can go further to the ground, try not to, kind of put on the brakes, and then squeeze into the ball, especially with that right thigh to bring you back. And then inhale, legs drift to the left. Again, doesn't have to be very far. Right? Squeeze your left thigh, that outside thigh, into the ball to help bring you back. Again, inhaling over. Shoulders stay heavy. Exhaling back. One more to the left, inhaling over. Exhaling back. And if you'd like to add on one more time, hands together behind the head. Elbows to the sky, nod the chin, curl the chest. Now this isn't going to be very far. We want our shoulders, for the most part, to stay where they are. So I'm going to inhale my legs a little bit to the right, right? If you go too far, you'll flop over, right? So don't go too far. Use your outer thigh and obliques to bring you back. And then inhale, legs a little bit to the left, right? Still feel some weight in that right shoulder, and then pull back through center. And again, over, pull back. One more to the left. Pull it back, and then grab the back of the thighs, lift the chest slightly if you dropped, maybe wiggle out your upper back a little bit, give that ball a squeeze, try to ease into the hips, right? Take a big breath in, Exhale, hands slowly to the back of the head. Keep squeezing that prop. Once your neck's supported, on your next breath out, straighten the legs to the sky, and then maybe slowly, right, curl the tail. It doesn't have to be very far. Bend the knees, tailbone drops, lower the chest and head halfway to the ground. Exhale, curl. Simultaneously, legs can reach, add that little scoop and curl. And then again, bend, lower halfway. And again, curl, reach, right? A little bit of a scoop, bend and lower. One more like this. So lower abdominals hopefully meeting your middle and your upper. Back through center. Lower the head, take your prop off to the side if you had one, feet to the floor. So feet about 2 fist distance apart, about inner hip distance apart, arms by your side. And as you exhale, curl the tail and roll the hips to the sky. So your abs get a little bit of a breather. Feel the knees stretching forward. Right? Press into the feet, press into the arms. Feel the back of your glutes. And then exhale, roll it down slowly. As you roll down, really widen through your spine. So upper spine, middle, lower, pelvis to neutral. And again, curl, roll up. Now, one vertebra at a time. Knees stretch forward, engage through the back of the hips, back of the glutes. And roll it down slowly. So keep going with this. One vertebra at a time. Right, things to check. Right, make sure the feet are still fairly parallel. Make sure the knees aren't starting to bow out. Right, make sure weight through that first and second ball of the foot. Yep. And for Miss Nancy, turn that right foot in just a touch. Yeah, beautiful. Yep, and for Eva, feel the feet walk forward just a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Yep, the next time that you come up to the top of that bridge, hold. Right, so your knees, your hips, your shoulders, just kind of one even ski slope. So the ribs are pretty heavy, so your obliques are on, your abs are on. Keep holding and breathing. Try not to move the knees, but as you inhale, let the left hip drop towards the floor. So there's some rotation in the pelvis and spine. Exhale, bring it back up, and then inhale, the right hip drops towards the floor. Find that rotation. Exhale up, inhale to drop. Exhale up, re-engaging the glutes every time you lift. One more each side. Again, just another way to get some rotation and movement through our hips and our spine. Ending to the right. Even everything out. You might take your hands onto your hips. Just make sure they feel square. Keep some weight in the right leg. Left heel or whole left leg floats up tabletop. Check that that left hip didn't sink down and you didn't shift. Right? Feel the back of those right glutes and then inhale left leg to the ground. Put some weight into that foot. Right leg floats up. Again, notice if there's any kind of sink or twist. Inhale down. Exhale to switch. So just keep switching from side to side. Now, if you wanted more support, if you have a ball, you can place your pelvis on the ball and maybe just lift the hips up a touch. So right, the ball is still giving me some support while I switch from side to side. It's also going to give you some feedback into whether or not your hips are rotating. Right, a pillow would maybe work on this. You would just have to make sure it's high enough. Right, other things you can do for more support, lifting one heel at a time rather than lifting the whole foot up. Now, if you want to make it harder, left leg floats up, pause. Straighten that left leg high to the sky, point the foot, exhale, lengthen and lower. Maybe knee height, maybe a little below. Flex the foot, inhale, lift. Point, exhale, lengthen and lower. Right, hands on your hips, another way to give you a little bit of support and to check in with what the pelvis is doing. Right, or arms to the ground for more challenge. Last one. Lift and hold. Bend the leg if it was straight. Set the foot down. And then we'll switch sides. So weight into that left leg. Right leg floats up. If we're advancing it, leg high to the sky. Point the foot. Exhale, lengthen lower. Knee height or maybe a little below. Flex, lift. Point. Flex and lift. All right, so try to keep the hips still fairly high. And again, same thing here. I could have my hands on my hips for a little bit more support, even in this position. Last 3, 2, last one. Hold at the top, bend the knee, set the foot down, hips stay high. Right? Engage to the back of the glutes, take a big breath in. Reach the arms to the sky, exhale, arms overhead while you roll down through your spine. Upper spine, middle spine, lower spine. Pelvis all the way to neutral. Right? Arms to the sky, imprint the lower spine, legs float up one at a time. Grab the back of the thighs, lift the chest, hold. Take an inhale, exhale, arms to the back of the head. And then adding on to this, right, head stays supported. We twist to the right, left leg can reach forward about 45 degrees. Inhale back to center. Exhale, we twist left. Right leg reaches, inhale back to center. So this is just the advanced version of every rotational exercise we've done so far, upper body rotational exercise. Right, keep the hips nice and stable. And keep finding that up and over motion. So armpit is trying to stretch to a thigh. Good. One more to your left. Find your center, lower the head and the chest. Grab the back of the thighs, push the thighs into the hands and roll yourself up to seated. So make your way towards the top edge of the mat. And if you have a prop, it can come in between your knees if you want a little bit more support for your inner thighs. Grab the back of your thighs, elbows go wide, sit up nice and tall, and then curl the tailbone and rock back off your pelvis. So we're just behind the sitting bone somewhere. The lower back is a bit rounded. The upper spine just has its natural curve. Eyes slightly forward, and then on your next breath out, right hand to the back of the head. Keep squeezing your prop a little bit. Use your left arm for support, and then bring the hand back. And then exhale, little squeeze, tummy's already engaged, left hand to the back of the head. Inhale it forward, right? So just keep going with this one. Everyone feeling this? Oh yeah. It should feel like a little, a nice little belly punch. A loving one. Right at the base of the ribs. Right, check in with your shoulders, your neck, your jaw. Inner thighs still working. If your feet are coming up, curl up just a little bit higher in your torso. That'll avoid any excess tension into the back or the hips. All right, we have one more to the left. And then both hands behind the thighs. Hold, take an inhale. Exhale, round forward. And then build up. So pelvis, low back, middle back, upper back, head. Exhale, curl the tailbone. Feel the pelvis rolling away from your thighs. Good. So just find that place where you're just behind the sit bones, a little squeeze into your prop. And then your next breath out, arms can go forward. Right? So staying here, your abs should be on. On your next breath out, maybe try right hand again to the back of the head. Push the head ever so slightly into your hand to feel your abs turn on more. Inhale that arm forward. Exhale, left hand to the head. Right? Feel a little bit of that pressure of the head back, and then bring it forward. All right, and the pace is definitely intentional, right? We're going slow, so we feel it in our tummy a little bit more. Right? And I know you can't see it on camera, but I'm shaking. So hopefully you're feeling your stomach. Last one to the left. Both arms forward. Now you can use your hands at the back of the thighs or not, but we're gonna roll down, curl the tail, round through lower spine, middle spine, upper spine, head to the floor, right? Kind of relax everything a little bit for a moment. And then as you inhale, lift the arms, head, chest. Ooh, exhale, roll up. I can't talk and roll on that one. Restack, sit tall, right? So same things apply for this as like a normal roll down. If you wanted something under your back or weights in hand, go for it. If you wanted your legs out a little further, go for it. But we're sitting tall, we curl and roll back again. Hands can also come to the back of the thighs to help out. They can reach overhead at the bottom. We can lift And again, your arms, just keep the elbows wide. It'll help the shoulders stay down, right? And then restack. So whatever version feels good in your body today. Yeah. Hello. Keep switching. Yeah, and just avoid, right? And this is mean after a lot of abs, right? So your abs are already a little bit fatigued and then we're asking them to work some more. And legs can also go fully straight. The bent knee version, a lot of schools of thought will say it's a modified version. I really think it's a pretty hard one, right? Legs straight, I feel like is way easier to manage. So, and that's the one I'm working with today. It feels better in my body today. So take just one more, whatever version you're working towards. Again, if you have the yeah, yeah. Last one. All right, so next time that you roll up, stay lifted. If you have a prop, take it off to the side. And then take the feet together, knees are gonna open slightly, hands behind the thighs, and we'll sit tall. And with the knees open a bit, you should feel your posture get a little bit taller. Feel the shoulders ease back, scoop the tailbone and rock just off your sit bones. Now just kind of tippy toe the feet towards you a bit until the heels start to naturally lift. And you might get to this point where the toes lift as well. Push the thighs into the hands, round through your upper back and your middle back, right? Dropping the chin slightly. So almost imagine like you're like in a chest lift or an ab curl here. And then as you inhale, we're only going to take it back maybe 1/4 of an inch. So there's this slight rocking back of the tail. Your abs put on the brakes and the slight rocking forward. And the forward, avoid kind of this, a chest lift and a arc through the back. So try to stay rounded the whole time. Right, now as always, if you're at home on a tile floor, maybe you don't do this next one, but if you have a squishy mat like we do here, maybe try inhaling back, right, leading with the abs, exhale, come up, find that balance point. And again, inhale back, moment of pause, exhale up, moment of pause. So you can stay with this if you really want to play around with advancing it. The hardest part on this is the setup. I take my left arm to the inside of my left ankle, and then I wrap it around to the outside of my left ankle. Right arm inside of the right ankle, I wrap it under to the outside. Now I'm gonna pull my heels a little closer towards me. So this is called seal. So I'm gonna open my legs, so I'm opening my hips, bring the feet together, open, close, open, close. Keep this position, right? We'll see if it works. We inhale back, exhale, roll up, pause. All right, we made it, sweet. And then again, open, close, open, close, open, close. A little bit of a hip massage or hip release, right? And this is real, I didn't make this up. Inhale back, exhale up, and the breath is key on this one. Again, open, close, little hip stretch. One more time. No barking today. If you want to bark classically, well, I don't know, maybe not classically, but you could bark and make some sounds. So if you'd like to take it a step further, right, take the hands to the outside of the ankles, lengthen the legs, open the legs about shoulder distance, point the toes, lift the chest slightly. So this might feel easier, this might feel harder, just depending on your body, but we'll inhale, roll back, right, just something different, rolling exercise, open leg rocker, pause at the top, right, try to find your back extensors. And then again, round, arms and legs stay straight, exhale, pause at the top. Yeah, so just take one more, whatever version you're working with today. Just kind of fun to see. There's a lot of different variations on this. Hold at the top, and then we'll all bring our legs together into the floor, cross the ankles, and come onto the hands and knees. So you can have your hands on the mat or the floor in front of you if you want a little bit more support. Fingers spread, knees under the hips, hands under shoulders. And then eyes slightly forward, keep your arms straight, inner elbows slightly forward. Now the elbows, the hardest part on this is keeping your elbows straight. You're gonna let your rib cage sink down, right? So it's not necessarily extension, right? I'm not thinking of going into like, cat and cow, that cow part. And then I'm pressing to my arms and just pressing my rib cage straight up. And I'm not, right, not overly rounding, I'm trying to find some width under my shoulder blades. As I drop my rib cage down, my shoulder blades are coming towards one another. And as I push my rib cage up, my shoulder blades are widening. And on the way down, I want you to feel a sense of a stretch across the front of your collarbones and chest muscles. And on the way up, I want you to feel some work underneath your shoulder blades and around the armpit area. Right? Now have that sense of pressing the ribs up a little bit. Try not to sink down, and then maybe the knees walk back. Low plank, the hips will come a little forward. Right? Avoid the pelvis being too high or too low. Or, right, set the stomach, extend the legs, and come into full front support or plank. Biceps, triceps working, kneecaps lifting so the front of your thighs are on. Feet are pressing down, glutes are on, right? Full body. Keep breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Knees can come down on one, child's pose. And arms can be in front of you or behind you. Good. And just a breath or two in through the nose and out through the mouth. Rise back up, hands and knees. And forearms are always a-okay on this as well, right? But we're going to set up the hands, shoulder blades wide, right? We're not overly dropped, pressing down into the ground. And this version, maybe to try something different, knees under the hips, toes are tucked, and we lift the stomach and then hover the knees up a couple inches. So if you're in this version, check at your feet. If you look back, make sure the feet aren't rolled out, but you're getting some extension in through your first toes especially. Now keep lifting through the stomach, eyes slightly forward so the neck is neutral along with the rest of the spine. If you want to add on, tap the right leg back, pause, bring it back to where you started. And then exhale, tap the left leg back, pause, and then bring it back. And you'll notice the leg that's left behind, the one that's still bent, that leg is doing quite a bit of work as well. Back of the hamstrings, glutes, stomach's working throughout, arms are working throughout. Again, all just different variations if you want to layer up. Yep. And with that left leg tapping back, coming forward, and then let the knees settle down, child's pose. Good. And take a deep breath. And then roll yourself all the way up to kneeling. So I'm going to turn to face you. Just make sure you're somewhere on the center of your mat. So depending where you are in the studio, we're going to take our left leg out. So just make sure it feels comfortable. Generally on the mat, just feels kind of nice, right? Right. So we have one leg that's long, one leg bent, one leg is bent and on the ground. So that leg that's on the ground, lean towards it a little bit. So we're leaning away from the straight leg. Top arm is on your thigh. Bottom hand is going to wrap around the top of your ribs. Okay? And just hold there for a breath. Try to breathe into that hand and then big exhale. Feel your obliques turn on. And just one more like that. So big inhale. And I want you to feel your obliques, right? So from the ribs wrapping into the back, turning on more so than your back muscles. Now on your next breath out, top arm can reach up and overhead. Inhale, it can lower. And again, exhale, it can reach. And as this arm goes higher, your obliques should have to work a little harder. Right? Keep rooting into your bottom leg. So even that back and side of the glute, right, and that bottom hip are active. You might even feel a nice stretch through the front of that hip. Everybody feeling this? Okay. Me too. So one more like this. And then hold. So both arms can come long. So one arm's reaching to the floor, one arm is on your top leg. And then as you exhale, I want you to think of kind of right under the armpit, maybe a couple inches, curling up a little bit. So again, I'm curling from my upper ribs, not my lower back. And then I'm kind of just coming back to a nice long line. So again, there's that little curl. You might even touch up here just to kind of check in. Inhale down. Now, if you want to add on, right, your bottom hand rather, can go to the back of the head. Already you should feel your abs quite a bit, and then you can add that curl. Right now, for any reason this goes straight into the back, just peel it back today, right? Your abs could be tired, something could be tight, right? And again, as we curl, upper spine is moving, that top hip isn't hiking, it's not moving. There's still a sense of length through that top leg. Feeling the pressure of the head into the hand very slightly. So kind of like what we were doing seated. So the head pushes into the hand a little bit, the abs will turn on a bit more. Last one. And then take that bottom arm to the ground, walk it out a bit, let your top leg lift. Top arm can come to the sky, to the hip, to the front of the ribs as a reminder to keep the tummy on. And if you're in this position and already you're like, not today, that's all right. You can come down to your side. You do not have to be on your wrist, your knee, or your shoulder, right? And regardless of where you are, top foot is pointed. We're gonna lower that leg down, gently tap it to the floor, and then lift, right? So your waistline's still involved, but now we're getting into the glutes a bit more. So inhaling down, exhaling up. Yeah. Again, just checking that we're not overly arcing the spine, we're not overly rounding the spine. And I sometimes find if the hand walks a little further away from the body, it'll offload the wrist a bit. Right? Just make sure that the shoulder is staying down and out of the ear. Yeah, and just see how that feels, right? Good. Last two. You might notice both sides of your glutes are working. Last one, hold at the top. Top arm to the sky. Lower the top leg, take the top arm over the body, and we're just gonna hold here once for a side stretch. Right? And then look down to the ground, come down into child's pose, and pause. You can spread the fingers. Yeah, maybe hands behind you to offload the hands and the wrist for a moment. And your next breath out, slowly start to roll up. And then my left leg, your right leg will come out, right? Just make sure you're on your opposite side, still facing the same direction. All right, we're gonna lean away from that top leg. Top arm to the thigh, right? Bottom hand to the base or the middle of the ribs. Now root into that bottom leg, find the glutes. Feel a sense of the pubic bone lifting a little. Breathe into that bottom hand. And then breathe out. And just feel that that's where you're gonna work from. So one more, deep breath in. Deep breath out. On your next exhale, top arm can reach. How high is up to you? It might go overhead. Still feel that waistline, and then inhale, bring it down. And I didn't say this on the other side, but this top leg does not have to necessarily be parallel. It can always turn out a little bit if that uncramps the hip. Right? Always go back and play around with it, but again, just some different things to play around with. Again, there's that sense of the tail dropping a little bit and the lower waistline lifting, so we're not overworking the back muscles, really focusing onto the obliques. Are the back muscles still working to help us stabilize? Definitely. Are they the star of the show? No. And just notice, does one side feel easier or harder? Last one like this. All right, so holding. Okay, so that bottom arm can come down towards the ground. So you're gonna feel a little bit more work on this top waistline. Maybe bottom hand to the head. Can also go to the chest as well. And as we exhale, right, just kind of under the armpit a little bit, we're thinking of lengthening and curling up slightly. So my top hip hasn't hiked, my lower back is still pretty neutral, and then I just come back to that long line. So again, it's a curl up, think it's pretty high on the ribs, and then back to your long line. Try not to kind of go into a reverse crunch today. Or ab curl, side bend, whatever you want to call it. Inhale back. Ease into the shoulders. All right, now your body's going to want to come pretty high on this. It's going to start to get other muscles involved that can help out. Try not to go real high though. Keep it in the obliques. Again, hand to the chest will make it a little nicer. Hand to the head a little meaner. Two more. We did a lot on that other side. Good, keep rooting into your bottom leg. Last one. Find your center, bottom arm to the ground. Walk it out a bit, enough to where that top leg starts to lift. Softly point the toes, top hand anywhere you want it for support. Top leg's gonna lower down on the inhale. All right, make sure the leg isn't too far forward of the body, it's in line. We exhale, lift up. Inhale to drop. Now again, this can be done on your side, right? You can be lying down on your side, arm under the head. You're still gonna be stabilizing through your waist and working through the glute line, right? This kneeling version is just different, right? For some, it might be harder. For some, it might be easier, right? Just really relative to your body. All right, last 4 from here, just taking your time as you lift and lower. Last 3, 2. Last one, hold. Inhale the top arm to the sky. Exhale, top leg down to the ground, toes point forward, arm overhead, and find a side stretch. So really think of kind of arcing or doming the upper ribs and middle ribs to the sky. And then slowly come back down to child's pose. Yeah, knees can widen, maybe the arms come back behind you again or forward. Take a big breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then on your next breath, make your way down onto your belly. All right. So arms are going to be in a goal post. So elbows about 90 degrees and in line with the shoulders. And legs as wide as you need them for your hips and your lower back to feel pretty comfortable. And then your forehead can come down onto the ground, or you can float your nose about 1 inch off the ground. Now set your stomach, so pubic bone heavy, little lift to the belly. Exhale, roll your shoulder blades together and down. So this isn't going to look like a ton of movement on the camera. Inhale, shoulders forward and wide. And this is where you might have to adjust your arms a little bit. Exhale, shoulder blades together and down. And then inhale, shoulders forward and wide. Now as you do this, try to keep your head in the same spot. So your forehead's staying on the ground. Or if your nose is 1 inch off the ground, just keep it that inch, and we're just pulling around with the shoulder blade movement. All right, so really waking up those muscles in between the shoulder blades. Now last one, start to feel the blades draw in a little and down, right? They're not pinching, but there's some work. And then on your next breath, float the head and the chest up. Keep the elbows nice and heavy. Arcing through the upper middle spine. Keep that connection to your tummy. A little bit of work in the glutes. Hold here for a breath. And then take it all down. Again, set your stomach to start. Shoulder blades relaxed. And then as you inhale, shoulder blades set. The head floats up, the chest peels up. So everything starts to kind of work together. Holding for that breath, and then just taking it down. We can play around with adding on, so we can set the shoulders, set the tummy, start to peel up. Again, see how high you can go before your elbows have to lift. So we're coming up through upper spine, middle spine. Now keep that connection to your lower tummy. Sense of pushing through the fingers will take us into full swan or full extension. And on this one, right, you're just looking for a nice even arc from your lower spine through your middle to your upper. On your next breath out, take it all down. So this would be the advancing or the leveling up. And again, set shoulders, head starts to lift, upper spine, middle spine, even lower spine right on this full swan is going to get a little bit of extension. Breathing into it and taking it down. We'll do one more thing to add on here. So the next time that you peel up to either right your low swan or your full high swan. My hands are starting to slide here a little bit because it's pretty sweaty in the studio, but kind of picture, right, your hands pulling towards your feet. So you have that stability, right? So you're not letting your body slide forward, heart's pulling forward, and then just very gently look to your right. And you might even notice your left ribs drop and rotate slightly, bring it to center, and then just look a little bit to the left and feel a little bit of that natural rotation in the upper spine. Just try one more each side. Last one to the left. Find your center, and on your next breath out, bring it all down slowly. Take the hands together under the forehead. Hold here for a moment. Bend the knees, windshield wiper the feet from side to side. Let the pelvis move, let your thigh bones move. Lovely. And then find your center, let the legs relax. So knees heavy to the floor, pubic bone heavy, waistline lifted. Your fingertips are gonna come just behind your ears. Forehead's on the ground. Now, again, if that's not comfortable, you might fold your mat. You might use a pillow or just float your nose about 1 inch off the ground is fine. All right, setting the stomach, set the shoulders. They're gonna draw down a little, and then as you exhale, can the elbows float off the ground? So my stomach's engaged, my head's still heavy, but do you feel the back of your shoulders and the back of your shoulder blades? Inhale the elbows down. Exhale, shoulder blades start to draw in and down, elbows lift. Inhale, lower. Now another peel back for this, if that doesn't feel comfortable in your lower back, you could be kneeling or seated, same thing, fingertips to the back of the ears or the side of the face, and just gently draw elbows back, shoulder blades in and down. Avoid, right, this lift of the shoulders, and then forward. So again, just ways to wake up those upper back and shoulder blade muscles and the back of your shoulders. So the next time that the elbows lift, hold, right? If you want to advance, set your stomach like crazy, feel the bottom ribs lift, and then maybe just float the nose 1 inch off the ground and pause. Do you feel your upper spine? All right, if you feel just your lower back grips, see if turning on your glutes, your glute max a little bit more, and your tummy helps. And then take the head back down, take the elbows down. Set the stomach, set your shoulders. Elbows lift first. Again, stabilize. And then maybe just hover. It's gonna really feel like you're lengthening out rather than necessarily lifting up. Good, lower the head, lower the arms. One more, set the belly. Elbows can lift. Maybe the head floats up. Hold for an extra breath. And then lower the head, lower the arms. Push back, child's pose. Nicely done. Knees open, walk the arms to the left. Stretch out a bit through that right side and breathe into it. Big inhale, big exhale. And then arms over to the other side. And that side that you're feeling a stretch, breathe into that side. Nice stretch from the armpit down the ribs into the hips. And make your way back to center. Rise up, hands and knees, top edge of the mat. And then we come right down onto the forearms. So elbows under shoulders. Hands can be wide or together for more support. Knees narrow a bit, and they're under the hips. Right? Feel the forearms pressing down, inner elbows hugging in. So you feel some work and width in your upper back. And then take the right leg out and up. And just hold there for a moment. Have a sense of the right leg, that back leg rotating in slightly. Root down through your standing shin and see if you feel your outer hip muscles, your outer glute muscles turn on. And then take that back leg, drop it down a little, out slightly, up, in, and back down. And then reverse. We go in, up, out, and down. Just keep reversing the circles. And as the thigh bone's circling, try to keep the rest of the body still. Yeah. And if you're on a yoga mat at home and your forearm muscles start to get kind of crampy or tired, you can always roll that mat up or use a little towel under the forearm. Sometimes it'll help. And if any of that doesn't work, just remember you can always come up onto the hands. And that'll offload the neck and the shoulders as well. So just keep reversing that circle. Glutes and hammies working together. One more to the in, up, out, and down. And then as you inhale, bend that back leg in. Exhale, reach back and up. Inhale down and in slowly. Reset those shoulders, right? Make sure they're not creeping up. They're still wide. There's a sense of your rib cage pushing to the sky, right? So there's that work underneath your shoulder blades and armpit area. Couple more like this. Down and in. Back and up. Relax the neck. Relax the jaw a little bit. You might just have to roll the head slightly side to side. Last one, hold at the top. Hold and breathe. Lower it down. Child's pose or cat stretch, your choice. Good. And then open the body, make your way back to the forearms. Last side. Set the shoulders, inner elbows hugging in, forearms rooting down. Knees under hips, left leg, bring it back and up and pause. Have a sense of that back leg rotating in slightly. And then once you're stable, take the leg out a little, down, in, and up. Pause, reverse, in, down, out, and up. Pause and reverse. All right, keep that stability through the front of your trunk. So base of the ribs and tummy still lifted. Hands together or apart. Whole back line of the leg working. Try to relax the heads a little bit so the line of the neck is angling downward with the rest of the upper spine. And just keep reversing the circle every time. Keep breathing. Good. One more to the in, up, out, and down. And then bend that leg in as you inhale. Exhale, reach back and up. Down and in. Back and up. Keep your lower waistline lifting. So this is just as much about the abdominals as it is about your glutes and your hips. Keep breathing. Last 3. 2. Last one. Lift and hold. Restabilize. And then lower everything down. Child's pose, or if you want a little bit more chest and shoulder stretch, you'll bring your weight a little forward so my hips are about over my knees. My arms will reach in front of me still. And then I'll keep my abs in and let my head and chest drop towards the floor. Now, if your forehead doesn't feel comfortable on the ground, you could use a pillow. You could also just ease the hips back a little further and just see if that feels any different. Okay. And then think of really resisting the ground. So I'm thinking of taking the kind of the root of my fingers and thumb and pressing them slightly down and forward. Wrap the shoulder blades and find that stretch in the chest and armpit area. And then breathe side to side in your rib cage. So all of that upper shoulder blade work that we were doing, see if you can breathe into that area. And then take it back, hips to heels. Roll yourself up to seated. And this can be in a chair, this can be kneeling. If seated doesn't feel good, it can be on a ball or a pillow. And then just shake out the arms a little bit. Shake, shake. And then you're gonna take your left arm forward so the palm is up. Your right arm comes underneath the wrist and you'll grab onto the root of your thumb, spread your fingers and draw it down. Yeah, and then just kind of relax the shoulders back. And you want to feel a stretch in your palm and all the way up your forearm. Yeah. And then inhale, let that relax. Grab the root of your pointer finger, spread the fingers, draw it down. Yeah, crisscross legs would work as well for this. Just make sure you're comfy. And you're just going to keep going down one finger at a time. Right? So I'm right at the root, not the top. And I can use that hand at the back of the wrist to help leverage a stretch. Yeah. Now be mindful if you've had any broken fingers or anything like that, you don't necessarily want to pull into your broken finger. And then shake that out once you're finished. Right? And then opposite arm is forward, right? So right arm forward, palm up, hand goes under, grab the root of your thumb, spread your fingers and draw down a bit. Yeah. And then release that pointer finger. So right, pretty close to the hand, to the palm. Open and spread. Yeah. So notice the difference from side to side, right? The hand that you maybe write with or mouse with, or if you only text with one hand versus 2 hands. Notice if there's a difference, especially in the thumb area and the pointer finger. And then once you get all the way through, just shake that out a bit. Reach the arms out to the side. Right? Spread the fingers a little bit, right? It's almost like you have like as far as you can. The arms will straighten, the shoulders soften, and you're probably going to feel a pretty big stretch under the bicep, the armpit, and down the forearm. And then roll through your fingers. So it'll look like this: pinky, ring, middle, pointer, thumb. Make a fist and draw the knuckles down. So big stretch through the wrist, right? And then let your arms relax. Roll the shoulders once, and then again, push, right, imaginary walls away. Really spread the fingers and pull your fingernails towards your ears. And then roll through pinky, ring, middle, pointer, thumb. Make a fist, draw the knuckles down. Yeah, and then relax the arms again one more time. Roll the shoulders out. Nice. All right, push the walls away. This time, turn the palms to face forward. Thumbs pull in. All four fingers wrap around the thumb, and then you draw your knuckles down. So it's not going to be a lot of movement, but right in that outer wrist area is going to get a pretty big stretch. And again, just notice your mouse hand or texting hand compared to the other, and then relax. Right, just one more time on this one. Roll it. Right, arms reach, palms turn forward. Thumbs in. All four fingers wrap. Right, so a little bit of compression. It'll feel good after the plank work. And the knuckles draw down. So, right, not too much movement. Yeah, breathing into it, relaxing, and then just taking one arm up and over for a little side stretch. Keep the hips heavy, shoulders easy, bring that arm up. And then again, other arm up and over for a side stretch. And just find a place where you're still, arms can be in your lap or by your side, shoulders just kind of easy. And then close your eyes and take a couple of breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And at the top of your breath, pause for a moment. So wherever that breath ends, just pause there for a moment and feel yourself really full of breath. And then exhale, let it all out. And again, at the end of your exhale, just take a moment of pause. And then again, deep breath in. Wherever your breath ends, hold there for a moment. Try to relax your jaw, your shoulders, and your neck. And then this time as you exhale, try not to deflate, but keep that sense of your core drawing in a little bit and a sense of ease through your shoulders. And just one more like that. Big inhale. Pause at the top. And exhale. And open your eyes. We'll end you there today. Thanks for joining. If you have any questions, let me know. Stay cool. Yeah, so, and that was, remember Angelina? That was an Angelina one, forest yoga wrist release technique. Yeah, so if you ever forget this, if you Google Anna Forrest yoga wrist technique, there's all sorts of YouTube videos on how to do this. It just feels really good. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All the computers, smartphones, all of it. All right. Thank you, those at home.